Hi, I'm Oli.
Hey, I'm Jordan.
Welcome to the Real Cut Podcast, where we give you our unfiltered take on life.
How's your week been?
It's been good. Yeah, it's been a good week so far. A lot of things to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. With barbershop, personal life.
Yeah, podcast.
Yeah.
It's always, there's always something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, it's been a crazy work week for me, but in the real estate world, if you're really busy, it's like a good thing. I'm very thankful.
Right. And that's,
So,
yeah, we
mhm.
want to be busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I know we've been laughing a lot during the podcast of like the oleisms that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think probably when we went on our run the other yesterday,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It
there
was just
was
yesterday.
probably some more, but we were laughing about a meme I sent you the other day.
Yeah. Well, and
Uh,
it totally went over my head. Completely. Yeah.
I feel like it was such a good example of your overanalyzing brain.
Oh, it's 100%. My overthinking, because I read through it a couple times and I broke everything down. I was like, this makes no sense. Like this right. And
Oh my
s-
gosh.
the meme in question, how does it go again?
Oh, it was okay. Hold on, let me pull it up here.
That way everybody at home can understand.
Okay, well, I follow this page on Instagram, which everybody should,
Absolutely.
just to shout it out. It's I am 30 AF.
Yes.
And so I feel like people
Hilarious.
in their 30s definitely can relate. It references things that, a younger generation just would never get. Not
Absolutely.
always, but sometimes.
Yeah.
um, all right. So the meme was, I'll put it on the Instagram page too, just
Excellent.
to so people can see it. But uh 35 years later.
35.
So that's what it says at the top. 35 years later. Sits bolt upright. Oh my gosh, she was flirting with me. And so, like, obviously, to me, I'm picturing a person like jerking up in bed out of it at sleep, and then realizing that 35 years ago had completely missed the fact that someone was flirting with them, but it's like too late to do anything about it now,
Right.
right?
Totally missed the opportunity.
So then you,
Which, by the way, is me 100%.
yeah,
There's constantly
which
times,
is why I thought of you. So
which
I
makes
sent
sense.
it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been
Yeah.
times where we've been talking and you're like, that girl was hitting on
That's
you.
a
And I'm like, what?
yes.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Like,
Yeah.
isn't that funny? You're just like talking to me about whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you do realize that's not like a normal interaction, right? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Like, where would you be without me?
Oh, no. I don't know.
You're
That's,
like, true though.
that's so true.
So this is what you said in very long paragraphs,
Oh,
by the way.
yeah.
I opened it up and I'm like, oh no. This is you? Is the person saying the bolt?
Yeah.
Okay, this is funnier when I actually like read it out loud. Is the person saying the okay? Okay. Is the person saying the bolt is flirting with
That's a legitimate question.
bolt is
Flirting with him?
saying the bolt is flirting with them, or is he telling, or is he telling the bolt? Are you
So I feel these were legitimate questions, by the way, but it's is the person saying that the bolt is flirting with them, or is he telling the bolt that somebody else was flirting with them? Is it that they just can't stop talking? Or is it that everybody is flirting with them? I'm missing this.
And then I realized that you didn't know what kind of bolt it was talking
I had
about.
no idea. I thought it was like an actual bolt you would find
Like,
in a toolbox.
yeah, yes, like you were thinking of it like, but it was an action word.
Right.
But you were
To
like,
bolt.
what is this?
Yeah.
Why is there a bolt that is he talking? Okay, so
Which told like who talks to bolts? I'm like, this is a guy in a shop. And he's
oh my gosh. And then after you said that, you said, I'm missing this one, laughy face. Like you knew something
I
was
knew I was,
wrong.
yeah, I
Something
knew
was
this was
very
me.
wrong.
I was like, there's got to be funnier than it. Like I'm reading it.
You said, like a bolt, like one in a toolbox.
Yeah, I wanted to
I
clarify.
mean, that is a valid question. And also, what does 35 years later have to do with anything?
I was so confused. I was like, 35 years later from what? Like,
Oh my gosh. So I had to explain it.
right.
And then you said, oh, yeah, that's 100% me.
Yeah,
Oh
no,
my gosh.
absolutely.
It was so funny.
And that's like a good example of our friendship as well. That I'm
Yes.
constantly like, what
And
does
your
this
brain.
mean? Yeah, in my
Yeah.
brain. Like, I'm a little lost on this
You were
social
like really
situation.
caught up on this toolbox bolt.
I
Like,
really thought like
and also at the very end, wait, what does 35 years have to do with
it's like on top of all that. On top of
it?
all of it.
So long story short, I had to explain it
Yeah.
word for word and what they meant and in
Give you
what
a huge
context.
breakdown.
And then you were like, oh yeah.
And it
Yeah,
made
that's me
complete
for
sense.
sure.
It made
Yeah.
complete
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh, that
But it
was
did, I
funny.
did need the breakdown, and that was the best part of it. It's like, I have no idea what's going on. I know I'm missing something. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
like,
So that was a funny,
that was hilarious.
funny thing on Saturday. So,
Yeah,
yep. So, but today we're going to talk about a few things that are part of our life, you
absolutely.
know, talking about, obviously we're entrepreneurs, but we've also both been in the workplace
100%. Yeah.
before. And so we know that while we worked for other people, you know, dress code, the way we looked,
Yes.
piercings,
Yeah.
clothing,
Hair color.
tattoos, hair color, all of that was like heavily like monitored and enforced. And
Absolutely.
not in all jobs,
Not
but in
completely,
many.
or in different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
But also like now that we've opened our own businesses, like what does that look like now?
Oh, it's
You know what I
completely
mean?
changed.
Totally
Yeah.
different. But wait,
Well,
what was your favorite or least favorite or just like what's like a past like dress code you had that like
mm,
you remember for whatever reason?
okay, so I love and hated jewelry,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Because I loved wearing suits.
Yeah.
I loved a reason to dress up.
Yeah, suits.
Yeah, my
You were in a suit like the first year and a half I knew you, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, every day.
Weird.
Three-piece
Yeah.
suits, the vests, everything
I
matching,
don't think I saw because we weren't really like friends like we are
Well,
now.
yeah, we spent a lot of time working around
So
each
we
other.
never really saw each other outside of work back
Hmm.
then. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it was the same thing. And
Hmm.
I loved that. But I didn't like that I couldn't really like there was when I tried to grow out beards, even though I kept
Hmm.
them like clean, there was still a standard of like people looked at you differently, even a
Yeah.
customer base. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And so that was just weird. Even with beards being in, they were trendy at that time
Hmm.
too. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like they were out or anything.
Yeah.
And then also having to like well, I like to dress up, but I'd like to be a little more alternative, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it would have been cool to be able to have like maybe skulls in my tie or something like that, but I know that would have
Yeah.
been looked down as
Right.
well
Oh
as, you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, oh, you have skulls in your tie. It's like, well, I can still
Yes.
be professional and still
Hmm.
be here to sell you 30,000 diamonds and do a great job at it,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny. So things like that, that's where the hate's like there's still that old school feeling about it, right? Where you have
Hmm.
to look a certain way.
Yeah.
Like I can agree with being professional, but I think you can be
Hmm.
professional in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And that was a hard thing to segue into, like Dallin, I think, as a business owner as well, was
Hmm.
to say, okay, and even as a parent, like
Hmm.
there were certain times in my life where it was like, okay, where's my fashion at? Like when I became a dad, I leaned into the dad fashion a little too
Yeah.
much almost. And then
Yeah.
there was a moment where I was like, who
You
am
had
I?
you
Yeah.
had your New
Oh
Balances
no,
and
basically you might as well the 302s.
the barbecue tools in your back
Yeah. The
pocket.
jean shorts, the
Yeah,
jorts,
the
the
jorts.
shorts.
Hmm.
Yep. But I mean, basically, cargo shorts, polos, stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know.
Hmm.
And not that they're bad fashion at all or anything. It just
Yeah.
wasn't who I was.
Right.
And so, and especially I know like as a business owner, and I think expectation even as a parent, like in a lot of different situations, there's a feeling of this is what people expect me to look like.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that feeling as well?
Oh yeah, like especially as a people pleaser, or like I
Oh,
call myself a recovering people
recovering, yes, can we count on
pleaser.
that?
Yes. Like yeah, you dress or you act or you talk or anything else based on what we think other people want. This is for me, but
Right.
what I thought other people would want to see and like me because of.
Yeah.
And so I would basically place my value in other people's opinions of me, which is
Yeah.
horrible. But when
Yeah.
you are struggling with lifelong stemming from childhood issues like self-esteem issues, you don't feel worth it yourself, so you then find ways to feel worth it, and unfortunately as a
Yeah.
people pleaser it's based on what other people think of you,
It's
and
pleasing
so
them and
you
making them feel
do
good.
what they want you to feel that, but that's opposite. It should come from inside, which is my
Absolutely.
process the last few years.
That's
So
awesome.
yes, the answer to your question is yes.
No, that's a
I
great
have
answer
done
though.
that.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted to hear though. I mean, not
Yeah.
not that it was scripted or anything, but I'm saying like that's the long answer is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I mean, I definitely understand. I'm a people, we've talked about this. I'm a people
Yeah.
pleaser or a recovering
Yeah.
people pleaser
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And done a lot of work on that because
Mhm.
it is funny how things, you don't want to like how everybody's like, oh, my parents, or whatever,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
is like there are things that happen throughout your life
Yeah.
that do make you act certain ways or chase
Mhm.
certain things, right? Approval,
Yes.
in different ways as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and once you kind of lose that, not that I
Mhm.
don't want people like with my jobs, I want my haircuts to be beautiful. I
Yeah.
want them to be good.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? I
Yeah.
want to please those people.
Yeah. I
That's
think there's healthy ways for that.
agreed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once you learn like the unhealthy side of it, that you're
Mhm.
doing, you're like,
Yeah.
oh
Ooh, I
crap.
need to stop
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
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 It's
For
so
sure.
true.
Yeah. So, I'm trying to think. I would say not a specific uniform that I had in the past, but I would say the toughest one for me was when I was like waitressing
Okay.
or in the server job, because there were so many pieces to it. So typically your shirt that you were supposed to wear certain types of pants. So like
Okay.
at one place would be black slacks, one
Mhm.
would be khakis, like whatever. So there's always like a pretty strict dress code, at least the places I worked,
Yeah.
because I liked a little bit nicer dining. I didn't want to like work at like a breakfast super casual. Some people like that. I just didn't personally like that.
That was what you.
Yeah, and so, I enjoyed learning about the dishes. I enjoyed learning the wine to pair with it, like,
Yeah,
and you
that's
just
good
don't
stuff.
get that when you're like at like a breakfast diner, for example.
Right. What kind of
So
wine would you pair with those biscuits and gravy?
I'm trying to think of if there would be
Right,
a drink that would go well with it.
like biscuits and
Um,
gravy.
it would probably be. Oh my god. Well, I hate biscuits and
Right.
gravy. So this is
Oh,
first of all
really?
is hard for me.
Well, there
I
just went half of our
really
fan
don't
base.
like.
No, I'm
I
just joking.
know.
That's all right. It's okay. I love it. So but it's
Well,
okay not
maybe
to like
something
things. There's a lot of things
peppery,
I don't like.
like a Bloody Mary. That's the
That's what I was
pepper in
thinking too, a
it.
Bloody
That
Mary.
was that's
It's
the
probably like the best breakfast drink you can have
yeah.
is a Bloody Mary, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
If you guys disagree, just write into us at the Real Cut
Yeah, I
Podcast
would
at
be
gmail.com. We'd
I
love to
would
hear
be
your
very
breakfast drinks.
curious. Yeah,
Yeah.
like what are your breakfast drinks and what breakfast item would they go with? Maybe
Ooh, they're pairing.
we need like a dessert, I mean a dessert place, a breakfast place like that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to open this up too for my weed smokers. If there's a certain breakfast type that you like to pair in that way too, I'd love to hear your options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell him those for sure and
Yeah.
tell me the other ones.
Yeah.
Like
No,
deal.
absolutely. Yeah.
Deal.
We'll
Love
cover
it.
all the bases.
I know. Yes. So, oh yeah. So the
So the
uniforms,
uniforms.
they would be really difficult because there'd be so many pieces. And then your shoes had to be specific for a kitchen,
The
non-slip. So you couldn't
non-slips.
just wear any shoes of that color. You had to wear the non-slip ones. And they were kind of expensive,
Yeah, they're
you
usually
know?
not super cheap. So
Yeah, yeah. And then you had to typically wear an apron of some sort. And
mhm.
it has to be like everything has to be perfectly clean and great condition. So if you're working double after double after double, that can just be really hard to do.
Right.
And then you're like the book that you write notes or you write the orders in, and the paper and the pens, those are all considered individual pieces of your uniform.
Right.
And then sometimes you might run out of paper, or someone takes all your pens, and then you're in violation of your dress code, and you're like trying to figure it out. And they
Right.
don't like provide that for you.
That's so frustrating.
Maybe there are some places that do, but I've
Yeah.
worked in many and they never did.
Same. I've worked at
Hmm.
other places. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just like there's so many pieces and there's variables, and it was just a lot, especially when you don't get breaks. You're running around, running around, running
Yeah,
around,
just back to
double.
back.
Yeah. And I still have nightmares from my waitressing days.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
Like
It's incredibly
it
hard
is,
work. Yeah.
like I have obviously a team of 11 agents, my own real estate business, and another different type of real estate business as well. So I'm running three of them, and it's easier than when I used to waitress.
That's crazy.
Hmm. I feel like if you can make it through like grueling um, industries like those, if you can make it out of it, you'll go very far because those are very incredible skills to learn.
Huge
But
multitasking
mhm,
skills.
but it's hard to make it out of those
Yeah.
because you have to learn how to take those skills that are transferable and put that into a resume that is then attractive to a different type of industry. And a lot of people don't have the skills on how to verbalize what a transferable skill is.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as like the multitasking that they are doing, right? So like that's
Hmm.
multitasking, not just taking
Yeah.
orders.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Hmm.
And they are incredibly hard jobs. My first job was in food as well.
Yeah.
We were doing catering, stuff like
Hmm.
that, different events.
Yeah.
I've worked back of the house, I've worked front of the house, and it is incredibly hard.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
And it's just it is one of those jobs I think a lot of people don't understand. If
Yeah.
they haven't worked it, they just don't
Hmm.
understand what goes into it. Especially
Right.
because I think you're dealing with people at their worst
Hmm.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And because I know that I'm my worst when I'm hungry.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I am not that I'm just a horrible person, but I can
Right.
be,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know like and you could probably have some great stories about this because I know by the short time when I served,
Yeah.
there were some people that were just not the friendliest.
No, like the customers.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. People could be so rude.
absolutely.
And actually the worst crowd was the Sunday morning church
Hmm.
crowd,
Why
which
is that?
as somebody who goes to church, it's just like a thing though.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean?
absolutely. I do.
Not me ever. I will, it doesn't matter how rude or stressed out or exhausted the server is.
Mhm.
I just am like, they're having a horrible time, like
Yeah,
on their own. I'll still be always nice to you. But yeah, the Sunday morning church.
that's
That's
Lord.
the worst one.
That is
Isn't
it's
that
just
wild?
no, I can understand that though, because a lot of the times when we were selling, it was on the weekends.
Yeah.
Right? And like I do the Oktoberfest, it runs through the weekends, and
Hmm.
the Sunday morning crowd is always a different crowd.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like it's just I haven't quite figured out why,
Right.
but I do know like like a large church population is very into the Dave Ramsey type education,
All right. With
who
the
he has a
books.
lot of strategies. He's a financial, but he's also very like scarcity mindset as well. So he has
Hmm.
lots of great strategies for those who are learning how to get out of debt or, kind of in those early stages of their financial journey.
Absolutely.
But um, it shouldn't work forever. Once you've gotten yourself out of that hole,
Right.
it's a different mindset. And so just in my experience, a lot of them are just in that scarcity mindset. So tips were almost nothing, if
Mhm.
anything,
Yeah.
so it's just kind of,
And in that
yeah. And
job, that's one of those you're looking for it.
I'm obviously speaking generally. So like I said,
Right.
I go to church, I go places after church.
You
I'm
do
not
great
talking about
tips. It's not
everybody.
everybody.
But as someone that was in food service on and off
Yeah.
for 10 years, that is the general rule.
Right, and
Isn't
not
that
everybody
crazy?
going out on Sunday morning necessarily even is a churchgoer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're not just saying, "Oh,
Hmm.
that," there's
Yeah.
it's just for whatever reason,
Yeah.
it was Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah, which
know.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I try to speak up about it
yeah.
because I want that to change,
I think that's how you do things.
especially for
Like, you
people
talk
that are
about
trying
it.
to represent
Right,
where they're coming from. Like
100%.
tip
Well, if you're
tip
not gonna
20% people.
Exactly. I mean, if you're getting bad service, like, there is a difference. You know what I mean? If you truly are getting bad service, I get
To
that.
me, if I get bad service, I still tip the same
Mhm.
unless they go out of their way to verbally say rude things. But if even if I don't see them at all, I know that they're probably
Well, that's the
being ran around
agreed.
and it's
That's
not in
kinda
their control.
which is different.
Yeah.
That I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
So, if they're busy and the
Yeah.
night's crazy,
Yeah.
I'm a little more lenient with it when I see them or if I expect to see them. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
agree with you there. As somebody who's worked in the industry, it's, "Oh, they're running around, they have a crazy night."
Yeah.
It's not, "Oh, they're just," but you're right, if they're, like, rude,
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Even, like, I'm sorry, even if you're
Exactly.
busy, I get you're busy, but there's no right to be
Right.
rude or
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
because I
Don't
know
be
I'm gonna
rude.
be nice and cheery.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be understanding.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be rude to
Totally.
you, so,
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
definitely don't deserve it,
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Because I think there are things to look at and understand and go, "Okay, they're not just being lazy, they're being
Yeah.
ran ar like you said, ran around.
Yeah.
They're busy."
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I think we've all gone late nights to, like, a restaurant, and it's just
Hmm.
we want that food because everybody's been going out and
I
everybody's
know.
out at once,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But
Yeah. And even in most of those, they cared about having tattoos covered up
mhm,
and that sort of thing.
yeah,
The only one I worked at that didn't care about tattoos was when I was a cocktail waitress.
okay,
Um, but other than that, every business I've and company I've ever worked for up until I got into real estate has said, don't let your tattoos show, don't have facial piercings,
same,
stuff like that,
yeah,
which I just never really was about that,
right.
you
I
know?
wanted to always have them. Same.
Hmm.
I never like. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, for the different places I worked at as well. Like,
Yeah.
you get the cell phone companies, you couldn't have them there. The
Hmm.
jewelry stores, you couldn't have them
Hmm.
there. And just all the different places. And
Yeah.
it was something that, as well, like, I wanted to have tattoos, and I also wanted to wait till my grandma actually
Yeah.
passed. That was
Before they
another
were
thing.
like visible.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
even like I knew I don't like so I am my grandma's favorite.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an argument. It's not even me bragging. Like, you ask anybody in my family,
Yeah.
I am her favorite.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
she's gone now. But
Where'd she go?
something about
I'm just kidding.
what's that? What'd you say?
I said where'd she go?
Oh, is she- um,
She has
there's
since
a lot of debate on
passed
that
away.
one. That's a whole other story for another time. I don't love my grandma,
Oh,
it is what it is. So she was a marvelous character, we'll put it that way.
oh.
But she was she would call herself a Southern Peach. She was
Mm-hmm.
very like, she had her
Oh,
ideas, you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. But she
And
was
if you got
old
tattoos,
fashioned
yes,
though.
you were a bad, like, you were a
Yeah,
bad person. And so I
yeah.
just couldn't bring myself to do it
Yes.
until after she passed,
Yeah,
actually. And
yeah.
then I got him, and the first one I ever got was my student years from barbering when
Mm-hmm.
I was in barber school, and it was kind of
Yeah.
like, well, I'm doing it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
my own business owner. No one can tell me no now,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is my way of committing, and like, I'm not going to be the idiot with shears who didn't barber.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hold yourself accountable.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I only have four, five.
Yeah.
Uh,
6 soon, but that's a future episode.
absolutely, I cannot wait. But I do have plans. Like, you know me, I'm meticulous. Like, not all, like, I'm like messy meticulous. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the right way to say it. Because I'm not like everything's in order. Like, I
Yeah.
do have ADHD. I get out lost,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But like, when I do pay attention to things, I like them to be
Mhm.
exact. And it's nice to be able to control that side of my life now
Yeah.
and have control as a business
Mhm.
owner and say, okay, well, I'm only going to do my right arm, my right leg, and I'll have that, and that'll be part of who I am and who I've always wanted to be, that kind of
Mhm.
guy. And then, but then there is that side of it going, is it going to affect my business?
Yeah.
Right? Are people going to care or not?
Mhm.
And then, do I care
Yeah.
as well?
Yeah.
Like, are those the people I even
Exactly.
want?
Mhm.
And so it's a crazy control of destiny at
Right.
that moment. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah, like it's kind of, yeah, like going into your future, it's like a pivotal moment where you want to ask yourselves these questions.
Right.
And like, some people might care, many will not.
I don't
But
think
what are you
any
going
yeah.
to do? Yeah. Have you
Right.
experienced any
Um,
negativity?
no, thankfully, no. Not because of tattoos or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
there was another situation, we might talk about that later, but
Yeah.
that was due to just like general looks, I think overall, not just the
Oh, wait,
tattoos.
I want to hear this. Is this
Well,
a good episode to talk about it or
I
no?
guess I don't know. I just there was a client. I think she was just taken back at first because like it was the first time we were like, and I haven't asked her, but just like you can
Yeah.
tell body language. Like I but
Yeah.
like when she walked in the door, like I had just freshly shaven my head
Yeah.
and like I have
Oh,
tight
for the
jeans.
Iron Man?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just on the Ironman, right? And so I had shaved my head for that. I had all these curls prior to that.
Right.
And so I had this fresh shaved head. I don't tan. I'm incredibly white. I'm down in a barber shop with no windows, right? So I'm not getting any light. I'm so
The
white and I have
creepy
tattoos.
barber.
Right. That's,
The
I just
heathen
don't look
creepy
like, yeah. And
barber.
she just walked through with her son and she just looked at me like, oh no, are we at the right place? You know what I mean?
Like,
And she told me it
and
was great.
close the door behind
Yeah,
you.
perfect.
Sniff this
You're
napkin.
here. Exactly. Don't pay attention to this button I'm flicking over here. Like,
Yeah.
and so, but so I immediately got my like high tone customer service, like,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing today? Welcome, it's
Extra
Oli.
friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, like,
Sounds like a children's show.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You play
Like
the music.
Mr. like, who's the, won't you be my neighbor? That guy,
Mr.
yeah, Mr.
Rogers.
Rogers. That's true.
Yeah.
Like,
Won't
let me
you
just switch out
be
my
my
shoes real
client?
quick while you're here. I love that. Won't you be my client? Hi, client. Exactly. So, and she was great. She sat
Yeah.
down and her and her son have been back.
Yeah.
I retained them as clients. They enjoyed their
Good.
cut and everything
There you
as well.
go.
Yeah. But it was really funny because, yeah, at first she
You
just
could
like the
just
look.
tell.
I could, yeah, she was just like, wait a minute. Like, like, who is this guy? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I'm safe. Like, I'm a nice guy. Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, and it was just funny. But like that's how the looks, I'm sure the tattoos led into that as well, you
Hmm.
know?
Yeah.
Because they add to the whole effect. Like I
Right.
had a guy, I went to a concert this last weekend,
Hmm.
and one of the guys in the group we went with, I just met him that night, and he's like, "Man, you got a real tattooer vibe." And I was like, "What?" He's like, you look like you do tattoos." And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I got them."
Yeah. I've received them.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I'm Harry. He goes, oh, that makes sense, barber.
Well, but
All
you're
their
an artist
tattoos
of other
are, and
sorts.
that's kind of what he was like. He was like, you got that clean, put together look, and it's like your whole. It's either tattoo artist or barber. Like he's like, that's kind
Nice.
of. So I was like, I
That's
guess
a
that's a compliment.
compliment.
Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, because that is who I am. So
Yeah, exactly. That's
but then
awesome.
like, here's the anarchist side of me is like, don't put me into a cage.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I got to
Yeah.
dress differently.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want.
I'm going back to a suit and tie.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be the bow tie barber now.
Yeah. The wait,
Yeah.
the what?
The bow tie barber.
Oh,
He's all wearing
yeah.
bow ties all the time.
Right,
Yeah, because
exactly.
bow ties are cool.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I mean it goes back, generations because
Yeah,
100 years ago or whatever, like, a few generations even behind us,
right,
tattoos were for, military, they were done in prison. Like there's a few
right,
main, and obviously I'm not talking about cultural. There are some, cultures that have had tattoos as far back as it goes. So obviously I'm not talking about that,
well,
but just
absolutely, like the
like
tribal ones
for
and
you and I,
so forth.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So, but for us, like, it's a couple generations back, like with your grandma and
Hmm.
with mine too. Like, my grandma, she still loves me even with my tattoos, but
Yeah,
she's
that's
she's
great.
pretty awesome. But
I didn't think
she
that
doesn't
parents
love
would.
them. She would probably rather I not have them. But but yeah, so it's like even when they were our age, it wasn't the average person that had them. So it's
Right.
taking a lot of like, generations and generations to like kind of take away that taboo part of them. So,
I agree with that.
and we're at that weird in between generation, you and
Hmm.
I, where they're still alive. Those in our
Oh
family
yeah, my
that don't
parents
think
don't
we
have
should.
any tattoos. Yeah, it's that
I do,
generation.
and
It's
I
just one
never
back.
want.
Like, yeah, we're
Hmm.
the first generation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we'll see if my son, right? Or if
Hmm.
they decide what they want to.
Yeah,
And I mean, but yeah, I get you're
yeah.
nailing the hammer on the head
You're
now.
nailing the hammer.
Yeah.
Just
It's,
nailing the hammer.
and I just nailed that hammer right there.
You're hammering the
I
nail
think
on
that's
the
yeah.
nail.
You're
The
hammering
nail
the nail
on
on the
the
head.
head.
Was that how you said?
Yes,
Yes,
that.
yes, that one.
Yeah, that one.
But yeah, you nailed it. We're gonna say that. You nailed
Yeah,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because it is. It's only a couple generations back. I'd be curious to hear um if like there's anybody else's stories about maybe if your family has tons of generations of
Mm-hmm.
tattoos.
Oh,
I'd love to
yeah.
hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there usually is a rich history
Yeah,
behind that stuff.
yeah,
And that would be
for
cool.
sure.
If it's tradition and just your family or culture or anything, I'd love to
Mm-hmm.
hear about that.
Yeah.
Again, just right into the Real Cut Podcast at
Mm-hmm.
gmail.com. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to hear all the things.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if anyone writes in about really anything that might go well with the things we talk about, random or otherwise, business related, like
Mhm.
anything,
We're gonna read it.
we're gonna read it. So yeah, we love tattoos. I mean, I lost count of how many I have. Probably
That's
around 11 or 12.
okay.
Some little, some large. So something like that.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
Do you have
Yeah.
any so excuse me. Like I said, I'm gonna do on my right arm, right leg. Do
Yeah.
you have any idea of what you want to do as well? As far as
I
like, do you have any general outline?
Yeah, so my next one will be getting because I have either mostly or at least half floral tattoos.
Hmm.
I have of course 4 kids, so I'm gonna get each of their birth flower
That's
and
awesome.
then have a bouquet of their birth flowers and then underneath their initials.
That's so cool.
So I'll do that on my left side because I have colored tattoos on my left and black and white on my right.
That's right.
And then I am probably gonna get, Old English font, my year of birth.
I like that. That's cool.
Still deciding where.
Yeah.
And then my next, or I guess I should say my next one, which you know about,
Hmm.
um, we'll talk about that pretty soon on a future podcast.
Absolutely.
There's a reason for that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, but yeah. So
Awesome.
those are my next ones. I usually take quite a while and think about what I want, and I'm not too spur of the moment. There's been a few, but with anything more major or meaningful, I take a while to
I
think
think
about
that's I think that's smart. I mean, I haven't done any spur of the moment ones yet
it.
either. I'm not against them.
Yeah,
I know people who have them, and I
yeah,
think they're great tattoos.
yeah,
So it's not a knock. I just haven't had anything yet that I'm like, let's go get a tattoo,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
moment. And I've been very
exactly.
specific with who's done it so far as well.
Hmm.
Which I love your process also, how you go through when you're looking into your exact tattoo you want, you think of the artist and if they specialize in that color or style or
Hmm.
whatnot. I think
Yeah,
that's so smart.
exactly. Yeah, I have multiple artists that I go to depending on what I want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
So, but yeah, I have not noticed any negative like interactions from having tattoos in real estate. I get a lot of positive.
Okay.
I was recently interviewed for a real estate publication called Inman News,
Which is awesome.
and yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah,
And
congratulations.
and I've been reading Inman for years, like 6 or 7 years, because they're one of the larger, maybe the largest real estate publications out there.
Okay.
They have all the news. But anyways, so if you look up my name, you'll see it in there. And I was interviewed just about tattoos and professionalism in the workplace.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
so I talked about I have not noticed anything negative. In fact, more positive than anything.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I haven't noticed any loss of business, but perhaps people have avoided working with me. Like maybe they, I wouldn't know what their thoughts are, negative
That
thoughts
makes a
are,
lot of
because they
sense. Yeah.
never approached me in the first place because of them.
Right.
But I don't view that as a loss in any way. I'm thankful for that because I would not want to work with someone who thinks that art on my body is somehow affects my, you know what I mean?
Your
My
ability to do your
skill as a
job.
real estate
Yeah.
agent. because when you get ink on your skin, it doesn't like take away your brain cells.
No, not at
Like,
all.
you know,
Right.
like it maybe means I'm an expressive person or certain things have great meaning to me. Like, if someone
Absolutely.
recognizes that, they want to work with me, you know, and if they're just kind of stuck in the, you know, couple generations back, then and have no interest in, you know, maybe growing, then that's just not the person that I want to be around or work with.
Right.
So I maybe have lost business, but that's fine with me. But overall, I
I
have
agree with you.
gotten all positive, like maybe neutral. Neutral. I can tell a lot of people wouldn't want them themselves. Um, but they are open minded and don't mind that I have them. And
Well,
I
and
think that's awesome.
yeah, that's great. That's really all
Mhm.
you can ask for, I feel like. Because I
Yeah.
mean, at the end of the day, it's not necessarily for them, right? Our tattoos are for ourselves.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's art that you picked out to put on your body.
Yes.
Uh, and I think that's great. I think we are coming to a generation now, like we were saying before, that it's nice where it's coming up to an area now where it is becoming a little more accepted and not looked at like, oh,
Hmm.
this person is incompetent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also like, so as far as fashion goes into that
Hmm.
side of things, like,
Yeah.
have you expanded your fashion in any way? Have you changed it ever since you became a business owner? Did you go through any
Um,
kind of,
Not at first, but also I was like that with tattoos. I didn't
right,
have anything different, or I didn't get my sleeve right away because I was still learning how to not really care about what people thought of me. So that came a few years later.
which is difficult to do,
Yeah, like it's
especially
a
as a
whole
people pleaser.
process.
Yeah.
Maybe lifetime process.
I would
I don't
agree.
know yet.
Yeah, I would
So
agree.
I guess I'll find out at some point in my life, but still working on it. But yeah, so as far as clothing, I mean, I definitely when I'm on my own time and not like working with clients, not working events, I tend to be way more alternative than otherwise. And so what I'm learning now, it is not I haven't figured it out, but I'm learning how to make sure that I'm being authentic to myself in all of the areas and not
Right.
one person somewhere and one person another. So that's what I've always had to do beforehand because the workplace made you that workplace's like person.
Person.
Like we were
Yes.
not ourselves. We were not, you know,
Yeah.
and then on your own time, you're your true self. So I'm still on that path to finding how to be both all the time.
Makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because the corporations will mold you how
Hmm.
they want you to be.
Yeah. Yep. So my first few years, I was very much like, you know, kind of the classic definition of professional. No tattoos were showing, very conservative, that sort of thing. But it never made me happy, and it wasn't like truly me or expression of myself. So now there's just a lot of like, as I've realized, like my vibe will attract my tribe. So who's my tribe? Who am I? And then just finding ways to reflect that, but in a way that doesn't detract negatively, I think.
Right. Because you're not trying to push anybody out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think with anything, like anything in moderation is fine, but too much can hurt you or someone else. So it's kind of like
yeah.
the same thing. Like if
Right.
I was disrespectful in the way I was dressing, or if my tattoos were um like offensive to someone
Right.
or something. Um like there are probably things I could do that would not be a good thing, but but I'm aware of those things.
Right.
So,
You're
yeah.
being aware and looking into those things. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
but I feel like now I do a much better job of being myself in the professional setting while still remaining like as the masses would say she's a professional. I know.
I
So,
think, well, I would agree with that. I think you have done a really good job of going through as I've watched your fashion evolve, as well,
yeah.
being friends and
Yeah.
seeing it because we've talked a lot about it, right?
Mhm.
We've talked a lot about
Yeah.
the tattoos and even feeling the workplace appropriateness. And I love how you put it in, because I agree with you 100% that you're going to find your tribe.
Yeah.
You're going to find the people that are good for you, that,
Yeah.
like same thing. I put out stuff that has to do with, geekiness and
Mhm.
things like that and just
Yeah.
goofiness overall.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people who look at my page and go, maybe not for me. And
Right.
that's
Yeah. And
okay.
that is
Yeah,
okay.
there's over 300,000 people in our town, alone, and that
Yeah.
doesn't even cover surroundings, and so there's enough beds for all of us.
Mhm.
And and there's a shop for them.
Yep.
And it's the same kind of thing like with buying, with yours as well. Not that we ever want to push anybody away or we're so busy, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's not trying to like, but I agree with finding your
Mhm.
tribe, right? There's gonna be people
Yeah.
who come in and they're gonna love the fact that you have tattoos. They're gonna love your style. They're gonna be like, oh my gosh, you do make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
This is who I want to talk to.
Yeah.
I
You're
trust
like
you.
me,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
And that's great. I know I do the same thing when I mean, mine is more towards competence.
Mhm.
If I meet somebody and there's a field I'm trying to buy from you in or something like that, if you seem competent, I don't care what you look like.
Yeah.
To me, that's
Mhm.
that's more what I go for. You know what I mean? Like if you're
Yes.
sitting there going, "Well, I think maybe," and it's like, "Here's, well, do you know?"
Yeah.
Like what? And if you
Yeah.
don't, that's fine, but just say
Right.
it
Yeah.
and say, "I don't know, but we're gonna figure it out." I
Yeah.
trust that
Mhm.
even more than the and ha's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just be like straightforward because somebody who
Yes.
can admit they don't know, I feel like is still a smarter person because usually they're willing to learn and willing
Yeah.
to figure it out than
Mhm.
somebody who's trying to just fake it.
Yeah.
There is the whole fake it till you make it. I understand that point to a certain
But
point.
it doesn't mean be like dishonest or BS somebody, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, because we all don't know something at some point.
Mhm.
And so,
Yep.
but that's my big thing. Like I never understood well, I guess that's not true. As parents, okay, so have you ever so I'm thinking out loud, right? Because I know with my son, right, and my child, they're in their teenage years, and I know for a couple of different years they were all over the place with um cleanliness, typical stuff a lot of kids go
Mhm.
through, right?
Yeah.
The way they wanted to dress and stuff like that. And I had to sit them down and say, unfortunately, the world does judge you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying you have to fit in a specific mold, but there
Yeah.
are certain things we've all agreed upon,
Yeah.
like brushing your teeth every day, like
Right.
taking a
Yeah.
shower.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like the
Uh-huh.
generals, right? Not going out in 4-day-old clothes,
Yeah.
yeah, like stuff like that. I was like, find your style in fashion or
Mhm.
whatever. There's nothing wrong with that, but there are certain
Yeah.
levels
Yeah.
that are expected. So I mean, I will judge somebody
I think that if
based off
you
that.
are treating yourself disrespectfully, that's something that someone should work on. So if
We agree.
someone is going out with like poor hygiene, not, changing. Now, obviously, there are some people maybe that, are houseless or there are things going on.
There are reasons.
Totally not talking about them, but
Right,
the
right.
average person that, has a job and an income and a shower and you know what I mean? Like if they're not if they are wearing 40-old clothes and like that is not respecting themselves and staying like safe and healthy and happy. So
Yeah,
that's something within them that
agreed. There's got to
isn't
be something
quite
going
it
on.
needs yeah, there's something that like to treat themselves better. They should, you know. But yeah, so I guess that's kind of that. Like we want to teach our kids
Right.
to have respect for themselves.
And that's what we talked about. Like, I agree
Mhm.
with you. So I told him, if you don't have enough respect for yourself, like other people won't either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
We
that's
train
exactly
people
what
how
it
to teach
is.
us, right?
Yeah.
Or teach us.
We
We teach.
train other people how to teach us. So close.
So close.
So
It was so
yes, so
close.
far.
Just missed the mark still.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
how to treat us,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yeah.
And so
You will teach me
you
this
will teach
right
me.
now.
But it's true. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, and if we're not going to take care of ourselves, like why would other people treat us a certain
yeah.
way? Not to say that's okay,
Yeah,
but it is something I've learned in this
right.
world will happen,
Yeah.
you know?
But if we're like in a happy, healthy if we're a happy, healthy version of ourselves and other people still don't like that, then that is on them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because yeah, I mean, we're not here to please.
Yeah.
We can get
So I
back to
think
that
as
people please aside.
parents, like that's kind of yeah, like that's the line. Like
Yeah.
there are certain things that we teach them as best we can and show by example to do, like taking care of themselves, that sort of thing. But yeah, like also we shouldn't live our lives based on what somebody else thinks we should be.
Yeah,
That's
that is the worst.
Yeah,
Never again.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that's why we're here to tell you not to live under other people's expectations.
Hmm.
Be yourself,
Yeah,
as the great mom would say
yeah.
in that wonderful
I
movie with
don't know what
can I say
movie.
the names? I don't know. I mean,
Uh,
like, I don't. We're not gonna get like
is
there.
it
It's
actors or actresses'
yeah,
names?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you're good.
Ryan Reynolds, Amy Smart, they're friends. His
Uh,
name is Chris in it. Funny enough.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mom, it's just friends. The
Oh,
movie,
I
yeah,
maybe
it's a
have seen it
classic.
one
I
time.
guarantee you've seen it. It's a
Oh
classic
my
like
gosh.
Christmas movie. And the mom's like,
Oh,
"Be yourself, be
now I need to watch it.
yourself," and she's like, the mom's one of the best parts of the movie. She's
Oh,
so funny.
seriously?
Yeah,
Is
she's
it a
so funny.
comedy?
It is. It's a total comedy.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh my god. So you have to watch
I
this
don't
now.
think I've seen it
Okay,
actually.
you've got homework now.
Okay.
Just friends.
All right.
Yeah. The guy, so it's the guy and the girl were he got friend zoned in high school.
Yeah. Oh,
And
oh
he was like the chubby
no.
cheerleader,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then like that changed his world. And
Right.
that's all I'm gonna say. So
Oh,
I'll let you
okay.
watch it because I don't want to ruin it. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
But
Just
yeah, I mean it
friends.
ramps up. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Ooh, that has so many layers. That's like an onion question. Um, because I mean, there's so many different types of movies,
Yeah.
and genres. And I can't say what would be like,
Okay, how about this? This is a different type of question.
okay,
But related. So
all
it
right,
doesn't necessarily mean it's your favorite movie ever, but what's like your
right.
comfort movie?
Well, that's what I was gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
Okay.
we were going down the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
path.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Because that's what I was gonna say. What's like my go-to if I just
Yeah.
want to like watch something,
Yeah.
right?
And you're like maybe in a bad mood and you're like, I just want to be, it's the same as like having like a cup of tea or a blanket. Like, what's your
Yes.
comfort movie? Yeah.
So, well, okay. How about this? Sci-fi
Yeah.
or fantasy
Yeah.
is my go-to area
Mm-hmm.
when I want to
Okay.
just go away.
Okay.
Like when I
Yeah.
want comfort,
Your
when I want to
brain
just
needs to happily zone out.
right.
Yeah.
That's my area. So like any movie really within that area.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously
Okay.
like
So you have a
Star
genre.
Wars, stuff like that. It would be
Yeah.
more of a genre.
Yeah.
Like even like a something like a Lord of the Rings, you just turn it on and kind of just zone out for a bit.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on for 3 hours.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's good, it's beautiful, it's very
Yeah.
visually ASMR in that sense.
Right. Yeah.
Um and it is nice to think about a world that's different
Yeah.
than,
Yeah.
than
Hmm.
whatever world we're trying to escape or be in.
Yeah.
Um
Exactly.
Other than that, like horror is fun as
Yeah.
well. That's like a second up.
Yeah.
Um, because I think the adrenaline spike
Hmm.
of being scared is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, you need to watch a new, like, each episode is a different story, but American Horror
I've been
Stories.
told that tons of times. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a new drop of them tonight,
Really? Okay.
but there's a few that are already out from this last year. But they're pretty good. They're freaky.
Yeah.
And each one's different, so it's great for short attention spans.
I think I've watched one was about it was about a hotel.
Yes, but that was a whole season
It
of the
wa-
same
Oh,
storyline.
really?
So
Okay.
now they make mini episodes. So it's like maybe an hour, 45 minutes, a totally different story.
That's cool.
All
That's like a
different
movie.
actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a horror movie.
That's
Little,
cool.
little horror. Yeah.
All right, I'll
And
check
they're
that out.
disturbing. Like they'll make your stomach turn. Like, oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Well,
just
'tis the
because
season.
it's hot
Yeah,
Halloween
absolutely.
season.
You got to.
So
We
yeah.
watched a movie last night, actually, Lyle and I, and we were
Uh-huh.
pleasantly surprised.
Uh-huh.
It's an older, like 80s movie,
Yeah. What
maybe
one?
early 90s. It's They Live, I think it's called.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, like
Huh.
I'm trying to remember who the main actor was. I think he's like a WWF wrestler, like Roddy Piper or something.
Really?
Yeah, and the whole premise is that he finds these, like he moves into this town. It's this big city, and he's
Oh,
looking for work.
it was from 1988, which is the year I was born.
All right.
That's
Who's the
fun.
main actor?
Roddy Piper.
Yeah, see, I was right. Oh my gosh, I need to trust myself
Yeah.
sometimes.
How
Yeah, Mr.
funny. There's
Rowdy
a lot
Roddy
of
Piper.
yeah.
And he goes through and finds out that there are aliens living among us. And
Ooh.
it's actually like
Was it
because
a
he
good
finds
movie?
special glasses, so he puts them
Hmm.
on, and then he can see the aliens. And like it's
Oh.
kind of cool. Like he walks by this newsstand, and all of like he looks at all the magazines and everything, and they're like, "Stay asleep, buy things, get married, dude, that's like telling you, but then you take off the glasses and it just looks like a normal magazine, but you put it back on
Oh,
and
the
it's like
subliminal
obey
messages.
and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like
That's wild.
it's almost topical. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
watch it and go, oh,
Yeah.
oh, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like it's kind of
yeah.
like it's very prevalent to nowadays. Like,
Okay.
but yeah, like I don't know if that's the right word, prevalent to nowadays. I don't think I said that
Yep.
right. Is
Yep.
that? All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll roll
Yeah.
with it.
Yep.
But yeah, so
Hmm.
it was, it is filmed in 88. So you
Yeah.
have to give some like,
Yeah.
but like
Well,
it's
those are
not
my
bad.
comfort movies are from the 80s.
See, okay, that's my
So
favorite
I
like
would like
year.
that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
love old movies. So okay,
Yes.
that's my go-to
Yeah.
is like anything Lyle hates it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like this cinematography is horrible,
He
Dad.
does. He's like, even last night though, he was like, this one actually has some pretty good props.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, they're doing all right. And
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, see, like when you give it a chance, some of these
Yep.
movies are all right. Like, because
Hmm.
real life props, I feel like, are so much better.
Yeah.
The CGI has a place,
Right.
but it also, I mean, how many times have you gone back 5 years even,
Yeah.
and you see a movie with tons of CGI, and you're like,
Hmm.
that does not look good,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
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 So, I mean, but it's yeah, they live, so you should check that one out
Yes.
too.
Okay.
Yeah,
I will.
yeah.
I will.
Let's not plug
Yeah.
all these movies.
Hmm. I know. But I don't know how we got on that.
I don't know. How do we get on anything
I don't know.
ever?
Yeah.
But that's
Just
why you
like
guys
we find
listen to these
ourselves here.
podcasts. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's rabbit holing.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Rabbit trailing, I think.
that makes more sense.
Right?
Sure.
Rabbit holing. That's just me
I
would
mean,
just
don't
go
rabbits have
into,
holes? Don't they burrow
I
holes?
think like dens. They
Dens.
might have holes.
Rabbit denning?
But I think it's rabbit
I
trailing.
think you're right.
Yeah. Do
now
I gotta find out.
you gotta
I
look
don't
it
know.
up
Wow.
as we Google.
Um that if you just type in do rabbits, lots of people ask lots of crazy rabbit questions. Uh dig holes. I think it's more like burrows. They like burrow.
Burrows.
Yeah, they burrow,
Yes,
but
they
they dig
burrow.
and
They
it's
dig.
it's like a hole, but it's
Right,
like
right.
a large, yeah,
But it's not rabbit hole.
like a den.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
So
rabbit
they
trailing.
rabbit trail.
Yeah,
Hmm.
rabbit trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
like
good to
it.
know. Especially because we see rabbits all the time
Absolutely.
when we're running. But
I'd like to know if anybody else has any other stories though, or anything about any crazy fashion, even faux pas.
mm-hmm.
Maybe. Oh, do you have any? Do you have any good stories about a
Oh.
fashion faux pas, or maybe even a like a
Mm,
not a blooper, but like something gone wrong?
oh, I'm sure. Let me think about it. Do you, off the top of your head?
Um, I mean, I'm sure of it.
These would also be great stories to read
Yeah, 'cause I
on here if
know
anyone
somebody's
writes
had
one
that.
in. Um,
Oh, okay. It's not that bad, but it is stupid.
okay.
Well, it's just I was a young man, and
You still are,
I
right?
mean, yeah, of course, yes, yes. But I was the ripe age of like 19,
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
I had been out partying the night before, and I was like staying with like we were four guys sharing a two-bedroom apartment, so I had
Yeah.
two guys to a room, right? So I'd wake up really early to work at the store shop I was working in, and I worked two jobs at that time. I was working at
Mm-hmm.
Zoomies in the clothing department, clothing store, and
Yeah.
then I was working at Woodcrafters, which was a wood store. We were just
Mm-hmm.
delivering lumber, laying it up, receiving it in, making doors, stuff like that, just working with
Yeah.
my hands. And I would get up so early in the morning that I would leave the light off so my roommate wouldn't have to, get woken up.
Yeah.
And so I get woken, I wake up, I get dressed for the day. I walk up, I show up. My brother works there as well. He's one of my supervisors,
Uh-huh.
and we're drinking coffee, and he looks down, literally like does the body scan, right? And he looks back up at me straight to my face. He's like, "So what's up with the two different shoes today?"
Oh
And I'm
no,
like, "What?"
you.
And I look down, and I've got a nice pair of sneakers, right,
Yeah.
that I don't wear to work or
Yeah.
anything, right? And then I had like a dirty pair, and
Oh
I've got one
no.
of each
Oh
on,
my
right? And he's
gosh.
like, "What? Is this like a new fashion thing?" And I'm like, "No,
Oh
I'm just
my
an idiot."
gosh.
And so
Yeah.
I literally had to go home on a break to change
Yeah.
out shoes because I didn't want to get like. But I'm such an idiot.
Oh
It's so funny.
my
Everybody's looking at me like,
gosh.
"Why are you walking around with two different shoes?" I had to explain it
Oh
like, every
no.
5 minutes, we walk by somebody like,
It's
"Hey, what's up?"
late night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
So that was
gosh.
just a funny, dumb, like little one I did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I don't think I've done a lot of dumb things in my day, but I don't think I What?
I do have another one.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so I was working at a jewelry store.
Uh-huh.
Inside, it was Fred Meyer's, and we were inside the actual store itself. The jewelry
Yeah.
store was. So every now and then, if you had lunch, you'd go out to the grocery section, get yourself some food, come back, check out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in checkout, and my pants were tailored.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they were that tight,
Yeah. Oh
but,
no.
but I dropped money on the ground, and when I bent down to grab it, all
Yeah.
you just hear is
Oh no, I've heard
yeah,
of this.
yeah, and then, like, my pants just ripped right up the back, like, the middle crack area, right?
Oh
And there's, like,
no.
this really cute girl behind me, of course,
And oh
the
my
checkout
God.
lady's really cute too, of course, like, that's how it happens, right? You're
Yeah.
gonna be embarrassing and people you don't care about,
Right,
yeah, and so I'm
exactly.
like, "Oh," like, I get up and, like, I kinda moonwalk away from I'm like, "Thank you," and, like, I'm looking all awkward as
So
I, like,
you're like,
moonwalk away from them, and they're looking like, "Why are you walking backwards away from us?" Because I don't want them to see
yeah.
my luckily, it was the funny thing too is it was like my favorite college is game day, and I was wearing that underwear. So like I was like, well, just represent,
Exactly.
And I remember I walked like I like did this like backwards walk and then turned and rushed back. And I walked into the girl I was working with, and I was like, I have to go home right now.
Oh
And she was like,
my.
what? And I was like, I ripped my pants. I need to go home right now. And she was like,
Yes.
let me see.
Oh, oh
So
my
I
gosh.
showed her, and we had a good laugh. And then
Yeah,
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 and that was actually my ex-wife.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that before you guys got married?
That was yes, like right around the time. I think we were
Yeah,
dating at that time.
yeah,
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 yeah. Well, mine are not very interesting. I think I
yeah.
broke the heel off of a heel, and thankfully I had the mall maintenance guy
Did you
on.
fall?
It just like
No.
broke off my shoe, the
Okay.
heel. I don't
Yeah.
know. You usually see it in the movies,
Right.
but it happened to me. And so thankfully I had the mall maintenance guy on speed dial. So I texted him and said, bring the super glue.
Nice.
And he brought the super glue.
Did it stayed on just
Hmm.
fine?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have
That
thought.
was the most exciting thing. Not very exciting.
I mean,
But I mean, yeah,
could have been.
it happened.
Yeah.
So yeah. But our next episode, next week, we will be talking about another exercise episode and
Yes.
talking about perseverance.
So
So we have
not
a
giving up.
few, yeah. So we have a few good things there. But yeah, I would say to anybody who listened to this, there are a few things we'd love to hear from you.
Always.
Tattoo stories,
All around.
faux pas in the
Getting
workplace
them,
as far
having
as
them.
your attire. I feel like there's got to be some great
There's got to be some great
stories.
stories out there.
Yeah. So, but until then,
So then
I
it's
think
been
that's
real.
it. All right. Thanks for joining the Real Cut podcast.